Hi everyone, it's Monica and welcome back to Taylor-Made Cards for You. Today I'm here to share with you one of my latest Halloween makes, and this is created using the new die set from Tim Holtz, which is called Graveyard. It is one of the latest colorized sets, and he has a few that he released this Halloween season, but this is the only set that I picked up. And I wanted to show you and share with you what I created using that set and a few other Idea-ology items. So as you can see, it is on a board, and the board that I'm using is some boards that I have in my shop, but they are just simple little chalkboards with some wood, and then it also has this burlap in the back. And this was great because it was indented, giving me a little bit of a ridge to be able to pop my paper in and still decorate the outside frame. Now the paper that I use is one of the new sets that came out this year, and this is the Halloween 2023 set. And this is his backdrop set, and I did use one of the pieces of papers from this set to decorate the frame. And I love the fact that the paper actually had this family mourning label on it, which is what gave me my inspiration for this make. So let me go ahead and walk you through this. So the first thing that I did was I turned it over and I painted it because I didn't want to necessarily have the wood coloring on it. And then what I did is I cut the paper to frame the actual base of my make. And this was a little bit less than a ½ inch, but I just used my ruler to go ahead and measure it and cut my paper to be able to create the paper frame. And then when I was cutting the paper, I was careful to save and cut around this family mourning because I knew I wanted it to be the label on my wall hanging. Alright, so let's talk about the background. The background was created using mostly the sprays that he came out with this year. And the colors that I used were the Iron Gate, and then I used the Decayed, and then I also used Fortune Teller. So I used all three of these to create the background, and I also used some distress ink. I want to say I used Faded Jeans to get some of that blue in the background, but as you can see, it's a really deep color for the night sky, and that's really what I was going for. I wanted a contrast between the frame and the background, so I was really happy with that. I knew I was going to put a big moon, so I knew that would break up the darkness. And for the moon, I used the Harvest Moon, which is wonderful. And then I don't have the die cut, but what I did is I used a circle die that I have in my my dies, and then I just used my stencil to create some of the outline of the moon, and then I added some distress ink around the edges to give a little bit of a shadow. Now these bats, I don't even know where I got these bats. I've actually had these bats. I don't think I have a bat die, but I think a friend of mine gave me these bats several years ago, and I've just had them waiting to be used, and they were a great addition to this wall hanging. All right, so let's talk about the shelf. The shelf was created using some of Tim's etc. trims, and this is a pack that I recently picked up, and these are great. I was able to create the shelf. I actually sprayed it first. I think I sprayed it with Decayed just to get rid of the brown, and then I glued it to my frame, and then I added some moss. Now the moss that I used is actually in my shop, and they come in these little bags. and I used a glue gun to add the moss to my shelf. Now the graves, the headstones, were created using some of the grit paste, the grit paste, and some of the mica stains. But I'm actually going to do a demonstration this coming Sunday on my Sunday live at 3 p.m. Pacific time, and I'm going to be demonstrating for you how I created these graves, so I won't go into too much of it right now. I'll make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, and hit the bell, because you're going to want to be notified when I go live on Sunday to give you a demonstration of how I created these graves. And then a part of the graveyard die set are these little fence posts. So I created those as well, and you can see they're kind of, I glued them so they're kind of bent a little bit, so it looks like it's kind of a, you know, a metal bent fence. And then I started adding some of my elements. Now these mushrooms, of course, are from Tim Holtz's Idea-ology collection. So I glued the small one, and then this was the medium one, but it was a little bit too tall, so I just trimmed the stem a little bit to make it a little bit smaller. And then I added a couple of the pumpkins. Now these pumpkins also are in my shop, so if you need to pick up some of these mini pumpkins, and I love these because they look so natural. They're not plastic, and they look really real when you put them on your makes. So those are available in the shop. So I added some of the mushrooms, and then the headstones, I actually glued up against the edge. When you put these shelves together, this is the bottom, and then this part actually folds up, so it creates a ledge. And then what I did is I glued the headstones directly to the edge so it had something to catch. I didn't want it necessarily glued directly to my background because I wanted to have these shadows and whatnot. So I just made sure it was in front of the wood shelf backing. And then to make sure it stayed up, I just got some glue, my hot glue gun, and I added some glue, and I put some more moss behind, so that way it looked like it was coming out from behind the grave. I added this skull here, which is part of the Tim Holtz collection. And then I also added another pumpkin here. And then in the middle here, I have some of his bones, also from the Idea-ology collection. Now these little rocks here, I wanted to create some gravel or rocks, and these rocks I actually picked up at the dollar store in the garden area, and then I just sprayed them with some of the Decayed, and I just glued them. And what I ended up doing when I was actually gluing, there was a lot, and then I would let it set, and then I would hold it upside down and shake it to get all the loose gravel, and then I ended up with something that's not gonna come out. But I had these rocks all over the place. And then to finish it off, any spots that looked like they were gaps, I just got some more of my moss, and I just kind of tucked it all over the place. Now these metal items here are flat, and they also are part of the Idea-ology collection. I wanted it to look like it was a sign that was hung, so I glued these on my board to look like it was kind of holding the sign. I was actually able to put this together in one afternoon. It wasn't terrible at all. Oh, I forgot my little tree. This is a tree that I picked up at Joann's in the fake flower garden area, and I just cut off a piece to make it look like a tree. I think it's a great touch. So I'm really happy with this. This came out really well, and like I said, it wasn't all that difficult to create. The hardest part, I would say, probably was kind of coming up with the scene, because when I share with you on Sunday how I got these headstones to look, you know, kind of old, you'll see it's not real difficult at all. And it was just a matter of being able to come up with the scene to make it look natural. And then, of course, like I said, I didn't have the moon die cut, but I thought using a circle and just using my stencil to create some of the highlights worked well. I was a little concerned that the background was going to be a little bit dark because these gravestones are dark themselves, but overall I think it came out pretty well. Alright guys, I just wanted to pop on and share with you my latest make, and to let you know on Sunday I am going to be doing a demonstration. So 3 o'clock on Sunday Pacific time I'm going to be doing a demonstration. And for the demonstration, basically it's the die. If you want to play along, it's the die, the colorized die. I used grit paste, and then for the actual coloring I used Iron Gate and Decayed, and then I also used, believe it or not, iced spruce. This actually was really great as well. And then for some of the highlighting I used black soot. So that's really all you need to create these graves, and we will be doing that on Sunday afternoon. So I hope you join me. All right, everybody, I will leave a link with all of the products that I used to create this, and hopefully you'll give it a try, because it was really pretty easy to create and a lot of fun. All right, everybody, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you again next time.